Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore the point-slope form of writing a linear function. Please make sure to have your notes ready to go. Let's take a moment to think about the names of our equations so far. We have already been working on slope-intercept form, or SIF. Now, when you think of slope-intercept form, that has the names or the pieces included in the name. Slope, intercept. Slope is M, intercept is B. So we're switching gears here and we're going to talk about point slope form. So think of how that sounds. That must mean that I need to have my slope, that's the same, but I also need to have a point, meaning an XY point in our equation. So our equations are going to look a little different, and that'll take just a little getting used to. First in our notes, let's jot down our 5 steps. If you need to pause this video at any time, please do so. The new and important piece is starred. We are going to identify and plot our starting point. That means we're not going to be on the y-axis anymore. We are going to be somewhere else on the graph. The rest of the steps we already know from our previous instruction. We're going to identify our slope, our m, and we're going to count out our rise and our run by graphing that slope for step 3. As always, please connect dots and draw arrows and label. By labeling, I just ask that your starting point is a bigger dot or labeled or just stands out in some way. Let's talk about this point slope form, and you have some space on your notes to identify the pieces. So first and foremost, slope. You already know that m is slope. And look, it's in the same spot. Your slope is always located in front of your x. Here's what's new, and here's where we have to slow down a little bit. The number with the x is your starting x point, but we're going to have to remember to use the opposite sign. What that means is if it says x plus 7, we're going to use -7. And then the same for the y. We're going to say, hey, what number's hanging out with the y? Whatever number it is my starting y value, but we have to use the opposite sign. So x is with x, y is with y, but use the opposite sign. Now in this video, I'm not going to get into the why is it the opposite sign. If you want that explanation, please visit. It has to do with the subtraction piece being part of the formula and not part of the number. All right, let's put this into practice. The first thing I encourage you to identify is the slope. The slope, our m value, is always in front of the x, no matter what. It's whatever number is being multiplied in. And so if I take that slope, it's 2, I split it up and say 2 over 1. Rise 2, run 1. Because 2 is the same as saying 2 over 1, right? Now, if you need more help with that slope piece, we have plenty of previous slope videos. So I'm going to go pretty quickly through that from now on. Where I want to concentrate on is let's start with our xy value. It says x minus 3, so I'm going to write positive 3. This is our new special rule. If it says y minus 5, then my y is going to be positive 5. See how we just changed the signs, but it's always x comma y? Let's try another one. Let's start off with the slope. The slope is the number in front of x. There's no number there. What can I multiply in that won't change anything? A 1. Technically, 1 can be written over 1, so it's rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. So if you're missing an m, it's always 1. Let's talk about our x, comma, y, our starting point. If it says my x is plus 2, I write -2. If it says y plus 9, I write negative 9. This one looks a little different. Let's start in the same way. The slope is always written in front of the x. If I split negative 2 into a fraction, it'd be negative 2 over 1. Or you've heard me say a lot, if there is no run, it's 1. Let's talk about our x comma y. My x has a plus 3, so I write minus 3. But my y says plus, there's nothing there. So what can I add that won't change anything? 0. Y plus 0 is the same as y, so my y value is 0. So be careful. If it's multiplication that's missing, it's a 1. If it's adding that's missing, it's a 0. Let's try this one. Our slope is the number in front of x. 1/3 is easy to break up into a rise 1, run 3. Let's talk about our starting point, our x comma y. X has plus nothing, so 0 is my x. See how that looks kind of funny? My y says plus 5, so I write negative 5. Now let's combine all this understanding and graph our lines. Step 1, identify your starting point. My x comma y. My equation says x minus 2, so I'm going to write plus 2. It says y minus 7, I'm going to write plus 7. Now if you put a plus sign because you're thinking it, totally fine. Let's plot that dot. That is our starting dot. That means I'm going to go right 2, up 7. Now make that dot stand out. Make it a little larger than normal, or some people do a special marking, but make it stand out. Next, we need to find and count our slope. The number in front of x, well, that would be a 1. My slope is 1, which means rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. Now my rule is 5 or fill. I only have 4, so I have to go the other direction, right? I want 5 dots or fill the graph. And as always, we're going to connect those dots and we're going to draw arrows. Now double check, does your beginning or your starting point stand out? Do you have a dot that's larger? All right, let's try this again. Example 6, starting point. X minus 4, so my x is positive 4. Y says plus 3, so I write minus 3. That means I'm going to begin at 4, negative 3. Look on the graph where that is. My x is positive 4, my y is negative 3. It's a dot, a regular coordinate value. My slope, my m, my move, whatever you want to call it, is 1/3. That means rise 1, run 3. Rise 1, run 3. But I ran out of space, so I got to go the other way. Down 1, left 3. Down 1, left 3. As always, make sure to connect your dots and draw arrows. Our next example, our starting point. It says x plus 3, so my x is negative 3. It says y minus 1, so I write positive 1. Negative 3, 1 exists right here. X is negative 3, y is positive 1. All right, let's figure out our slope. The number in front of x is negative 2. What that means, if there is no run, it's 1. Right? We could put any number over 1 and it's still itself. So that's our safe number. From our beginning dot, place your pencil there. You're going to go down 2, right 1. See how only the 2 is negative? Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Connect and arrows. And remember, at any time during these videos, if you need to pause, jot things down, and then listen, please do so. All right, our last one, let's go. My starting point, it says x plus 5, so I write negative 5. It says y plus nothing, so I write y is 0. Negative 5, 0 is on the x-axis. This is going to seem weird. We've never started on the x-axis. So that's something unique. My slope says negative 1/2. Now, when you split up that 1 and that 2 for my rise run, only one of the numbers gets a negative, right? You can't give them both a negative because that'd be a double negative, which is positive. Only one number. So you can choose. Do you want to do negative 1 over 2 or 1 over negative 2? Doesn't matter. I'm going to go negative 1, down 1, run 2. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. Negative 1/2. Connect and draw arrows. So again, the key thing is going to be that starting point. It says y plus or minus a number and x plus or minus a number. You got to watch out for those opposite signs, right? As always, make sure to check out Google Classroom to see what the task is. Let me know if you have any questions. And until next time, have a good one.